Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Linda Ugelow, who's here sharing with us her new book, Delight in the Limelight. Overcome your fear of being seen and realize your dreams. Do you have a fear of speaking in public that's holding you back in life? Well, today's guest is going to share with us how to overcome just that. So Linda Ugelow holds a master's degree in movement studies. She's a heroic public speaking fellow, a certified gateless writing coach, a transformational speaking and self-expression coach, and author. Linda has spent the last decade coaching performers, athletes, keynote speakers, influencers, lecturers, and entrepreneurs on how to overcome their fears associated with public speaking before a live audience or on camera. Her inner freedom framework technique helps people identify and heal their fear of being seen and heard so they can share their gifts to the world. So welcome to the show, Linda Ugelow.
Thanks for having me on, Marianne.
My goodness, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book and the work that you do. What even inspired you on this path?
What inspired me on this path was that I myself was afraid to speak in public. Even though I had been a performer on stage for more than 3 decades, I hated to introduce a song. When I became an online coach and needed to build my following, I found being on camera really distressing. So once I realized that I was going about getting rid of my fear in the wrong way and discovered a method to get to the root cause of the problem and clear it away, I realized that I needed to share this perspective with the world because I had scoured Google on how to manage my anxiety speaking, and I never came up with an answer that worked for me. So once I realized that I had a process that could potentially help a lot of people, I knew I had to write a book about it because I'm limited in how many people I can reach, and a book can go far.
Well, isn't that the truth? And it's interesting how many people in those arenas really have a difficult time being seen. And I love how your book talks about, be seen and realize your dreams. Do you think that most of the times this is the one factor that holds people back from really ultimate success?
I think it's huge because while we're in a place of fear or anxiety about expressing ourselves or putting our ideas out there, we limit ourselves in what our imagination is. We limit ourselves in how big a stage we feel we can play in the world. So I do indeed feel like this is what keeps us back. For instance, I remember my very first speaking course I took, and the coach asked everyone, where would you like to speak? And people were saying TED stage and conferences and corporate arenas. And the only thing I could think of was my local library. I could not imagine wanting to speak further than that. But once I got over my fear, then it was like the world opened up. It was like there was no friction or resistance to going wherever there was opportunity.
So what's really beneath the fear that's holding people back?
Well, Marianne, everybody has their own story, but it is always something that is connected with you feeling like it's not okay to be who you are or express yourself the way you are, or to have been ridiculed, hurt, punished, rejected, pressured to perform before you're ready, anything that makes you want to hide. And it's very difficult to grow up in our society without that. I mean, even in school, we're pressured to be perfect all the time. Maybe classmates will laugh at us if we don't know the answer, or a teacher will be mean. Any of this kind of experience is going to make us want to not be seen. And so then when we become adults and we go out into the world and we're asked to participate in meetings or to, maybe we have an expertise that we want to share on a bigger stage, this is going to hold us back because there's part of us that remembers it wasn't safe. be careful. You might get laughed at. You might look foolish. Foolish. People might think you're not as great as, you hope you want them to think of you. You're going to, ruin your reputation. Any of these things come up that inhibit us from really just relaxing in the moment and delighting in the limelight.
I'm sure a bunch of people just heard that last part and started to cringe. It's like, how can
Yes.
a delight in the limelight? It's like, ooh, can I do that?
Yes. And you see, this is what I feel is this is part of my mission because I feel like speaking is our human design. We are meant to speak. You cannot help but have children all around the world learn to speak the language that they grow up in. And yet we come to dread it. Why is that? Children love to express themselves. They thrive on it. They depend on attention. Yet 10, 15 years later, we shy away from it. So I feel like there is something to be healed here. There's something to be addressed, something that, needs to be resolved so that we don't feel held back by experiences that we had, early on or along the way. The question is, how do we maintain that sense of just enjoyment of getting to express ourselves, getting to share our thoughts? It's so elemental to who we are.
Can you share with us the 3-part process that you have outlined in your book?
Yes, yes. I call this the inner freedom framework, and it does have 3 parts. The first is to reveal and heal, I call it. That means to look at what are these impacting past experiences or messages. Who hasn't grown up with silence is golden, children should be seen and not heard, or don't talk back to your elders. Or if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Anything of this nature in our culture that tells us not to stand out, keep our heads down, this is going to impact us. So we can't address these things and resolve them if we don't know what they are. So it does take a certain amount of commitment to investigate your past and saying, with a little bit of curiosity, I wonder where this came from. Once you have it, we need to change how it sits inside you because oftentimes we carry it with some shame or blame or some kind of negativity that gets activated. And it's this activation that, when we're put on camera or we're standing in front of a group that it just kind of overtakes us without our conscious awareness. It's like the body cannot be controlled. So the addressing of these things means that we need to find a new relationship to them, one that brings wisdom, compassion, forgiveness, releasing, looking at it in new ways so that it doesn't have the same pattern of in our neurophysiology as it had been carried on from earlier on in our lives, but we bring kind of like a new sense of acceptance, freedom from it, that we can look at it with like it's a story of our lives, but it's not a hot topic. It's not making our blood pressure rise anymore. So that's number 1, reveal and heal. Number 2, we need to restore a sense of safety. And what I mean by that is you may be worried what other people think of you, but there can be no harsher critic than you can be to yourself. You will say things to yourself that you wouldn't think of saying to other people, like, who do you think you are? You're gonna mess up. You're not as good as that next person. That person is a real natural. You are boring and dull. Now, if someone said that to you, you would probably say, I don't think I want to be friends with that person anymore. And yet we allow these thoughts in our head to go by almost unnoticed. And if you have a part of yourself that's waiting to berate you for any mistake you make, you are going to be afraid of being in front of other people. Because if you don't feel safe inside yourself with yourself, you're going to be afraid with other people as well. So we need to transform the way we speak to ourselves so that we can, instead of being an inner critic, we can be an inner ally, because we need all the encouragement we can get. We don't want to work against ourselves. We want to promote our inner well-being. Number 3 is to repattern our habits, because when you are used to being afraid and closed in, that's going to affect the way you stand, the way you feel inside your body, the way you breathe, and the way you use your voice. What I love about part 3, repattern our habits, is this is where you get to, once you've cleared the stuff away that keeps you from being in the present, all that stuff from the past, once you revitalize a new way of speaking to yourself inside your head, then you are free to learn new skills. You can learn to play with your voice. You can learn to engage your whole body when you speak and use your arms, and you can look at people in the eye because you're not afraid of what they're thinking of you. And all of a sudden, it's like you are more open to the world, you're more open to other people, you're more open to yourself. So that's about repatterning our habits, the inner freedom framework, those three layers.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Linda Ugelow in regards to her new book, Delight in the Limelight. Overcome your fear of being seen and realize your dreams. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Are you an author, speaker, or expert who is looking for more publicity? Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up for free interview requests from shows looking for guests. Radio Guest List is the #1 free booking resource for radio, podcasts, and TV talk shows who are looking for experts like you right now. Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up today to get the visibility you deserve.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special. When you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Are you a coffee lover who wants to make a difference? Look no further than Fire Department Coffee, a veteran-owned business that gives back to support first responders in need. Each batch of coffee is freshly roasted right here in the USA by a dedicated team of first responders and coffee experts. So when you enjoy a cup of Fire Department coffee, you're not only drinking high-quality coffee, you're supporting members of your community. Start your day with a coffee that gives back. Visit firedepartmentcoffee.com. That's fire, D-E-P-T, coffee.com.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Mary Ann. We're here today with special guest Linda Ugelow, who's here sharing with us her new book, Delight in the Limelight. Overcome your fear of being seen and realize your dreams. Do people come to you if they're looking just to maybe be a better speaker at like a PTA meeting, or I've heard TEDx, but maybe they have other meetings like a church meeting or some other thing that doesn't, it may be something related to work that doesn't involve getting on a top stage?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Marianne, because in truth, I feel that we are all public speakers. Anytime we open our mouth to speak to another individual, we are speaking in public. So yes, people come to me because they want to give a toast at their daughter's wedding, or they want to be able to read out loud to their group of students, or they want to, as an author, you want to be able to give readings. So you don't have to think about, oh, I'm not going to be on a TEDx stage, or I don't need to give presentations at work. But are you in a meeting where you need to participate? Are you in a classroom where raising your hand is important and contributing to the conversation? All of these things are indeed going to impact how well we feel we can participate in the world. And yes, people come to me for all of these things.
Do you also work with people who just want to be better conversationalists? They just want to be able to handle a conversation with ease, especially if they're going to be thrown something that maybe they're not sure what to say?
That is true. And usually that is not the main reason people come, although I did for a while work with people in a program called Think on Your Feet. And that I incorporate that into the group programs that I offer now. But even if we are speaking spontaneously, and you've got to remember that we are speaking spontaneously from the moment we wake up until we go to sleep. Most of our speaking is spontaneous. Being able to handle mistakes, forgetting what you want to say, or being able to speak more concisely, I think happens with more ease when we feel free and we trust ourselves and we give ourselves permission. But there is also a way of practicing that. You don't have to take a class to practice this. You can use the speaking you already do to learn to be more concise. When you come home to your family or you get together with your friends and people ask you, how are you doing? What's going on? This is your opportunity to not only just to take up space, but to allow yourself to think, how can I make this into a story? How can I have a beginning, a middle, and an end, with some kind of an arc, so that we're not speaking, endlessly for 20 minutes, but that we can have little bite-sized speaking globes of information that we share that invites conversation. So I think this is one of the things that people get hung up on when they feel like they can't speak comfortably on their feet, or they're worried they're going to be put on the spot, that they need to have the perfect or the absolute correct answer. And nothing could be further from the truth, because all we need to do is think, what do I feel right now? What is my truth in this very moment? Even just speaking with you, Marianne, I mean, questions like these I may get from other people, but how I answer it at a different moment is going to be different than how I answer now. And there is beauty to allowing ourselves and to let whatever comes out, just accept and honor that. That's perfect for this moment. So cultivate that idea that it's okay for us to be an imperfectionist and to be an experimentalist, and that this is something that it's not about making the grade, but it's about making connection, and it's about growing and becoming more who we are, and allowing ourselves to grow into our self-expression and have fun with it so we can delight in the limelight.
So how can people work with you? Do you do personal training?
I do. I do have people who work with me privately, a lot of people who work in companies and who may have very busy schedules choose to work privately. Those who may have room in their life for a group program, I think group programs are wonderful because it allows you to feel, number one, that you're not alone. There's a joy in sharing the journey, even if it's one that's about overcoming the fear of speaking. There is also borrowed benefits, because as we see other people work through an experience that may have felt shameful to them, and we look at this person and we look at them with such compassion and say, I wish you could see how wonderful you are. I wish you could see how intelligent and impactful, and how I'm so glad to be in your company and to know you. And when you have that kind of compassion for others, you realize, oh my gosh, I can have that same compassion to myself. So that's one of the things that's really beautiful about working in groups. And plus, it's fun.
Where can our readers and listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn where they can get more advice on how to be a dynamic speaker?
Well, I encourage everyone to download the speaker preparation checklist. What I love about this checklist is that people think, oh, I should just practice what I want to say. I say, actually, there's a lot more to prepare yourself. Open up your mouth and see what comes out of your mouth. No singer would go on the stage without warming up. No instrumentalist would go out there without warming up their instrument, or an athlete going out on the field. Our voice is our instrument. We need to start making some sounds before we want to get on a podcast or go into a meeting, because if you want to rely on your voice, you need to make sure that it's there for you. Also, open up your body, stretch out, loosen up, because we don't just speak from our heads out our voices. It's like our whole body participates. We ride the sounds of our voice on our breath, which is our whole entire torso. We also express ourselves with our arms. So allow yourself freedom in your body. And then there are ways to bring in your focus, so your mind is clear, so that you are free of distractions. This checklist will help you realize, oh, yes, I can do this. Oh, yes, I can do that. You can get this checklist at lindaugelow.com/rituals.
What a great resource. Well, Linda, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
I really enjoyed speaking with you, Marianne. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Linda. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Delight in the Limelight. Overcome your fear of being seen and realize your dreams. Delight in the Limelight's available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and everywhere books are sold. And remember, support our indie bookstores. If you don't see it on the shelf, just ask for them to order it. And also be part of Linda's great community. Make sure to visit her website at lindaugelow.com. That's spelled Linda, UGELOW.com. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.